Hi guys, I'm Shmi. Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the 2019 Geneva Motor Show. As always, there have been some amazing cars revealed and put on display for this year. Some new hypercars, supercars, concept cars and tuner cars. The likes of the Koenigsegg Jesko, the Bugatti La Voiture Noire, the Aston Martin AMRB 003. So let's go for the highlights. Go and take a quick tour around the entire exhibition to pick out some of the very best at this year's Geneva Motor Show. Let's start right here with one of the big hitters, the Koenigsegg Jesko. It's been long awaited, their follow-up to the successful Agera RS. This is track brutality at its finest. They're going to be building 125 units of this car that has 1,600 horsepower from a 5-litre twin-turbocharged V8. But what's particularly special about this is the gearbox that Christian von Koenigsegg and his team have integrated into this car, the new light-speed transmission. It's a 9-speed gearbox with 7 clutches, but not only that, it's particularly lightweight. Visually, looking at the car, you can see this thing has some pretty radical active aerodynamics. That front splitter, that rear wing. In fact, at 250 kilometers per hour, it has as much as 880 kilos of downforce. This is the track version of the Jesko. It's named Jesko after Christian's father, who invested in him as a 23-year-old to create the company that has led us now to have products as wonderful as this. There will also be the non-track version, which potentially, as well as having 300 kilos of downforce and still being quite a weapon on the track, will have the ambition to reach 300 miles per hour. The car has those arms coming out from the rear for this ginormous boomerang-style rear wing, active rear wing that will fold and pivot at different speeds. It has the auto skin, so the automatic motorized doors and rear clamshell panels, and just look at the design, an evolution, but now a second model in the lineup alongside the Regera. This, though, has definitely been one of the highlights so far. Feast your eyes on this then. One of the big talking points at this year's show is the La Voiture Noire from Bugatti. It is a one-off, and the big thing is the price tag. This is the world's most expensive new car, costing 16.7 million euros. It is a car that pays tribute back to the Type 57 SC Atlantic. La Voiture Noire literally meaning the black car, representing the 4th Atlantic, Jean Bugatti's own car that went missing during transport and has never been seen again. That car was back in the 30s. This car is launched in 2019, Bugatti's 110th anniversary, powered by the motors of the Chiron with 1,500 horsepower, but with its own completely unique bodywork, an extended chassis, an elongated front end, and this very sleek rear queuing around that center line that you can see throughout, and with 6 exhaust tips down there at the back. It's open, you have this full width tail light across the back as well, and coming round a sleek and slender window, side window towards the front. With that extended shape, you can see the extra rake of the window and the aggression and menacing presence of this design inspiration coming from that Atlantic of the 1930s. Around the front though, a few of the stylistic cues we're familiar with, the horseshoe grille down there in the center, lots of openings and aggression to the design overall. But what a thing, one very lucky customer out there who will become the owner of the Bugatti La Voiture Noire. Big news at Aston Martin, including this, the AMRB 003, nicknamed the Son of Valkyrie, borrowing from the learnings of Aston Martin and Red Bull's partnership in Formula 1 and also in building and creating the Valkyrie. This is their new hypercar, limited to 500 units, based around a hybrid turbo V6, a return to an in-house engine for Aston Martin as well. I can tell you from having a previous experience, the seating position and interior is absolutely marvelous, but you can see some of the aerodynamics going right through the side of the car there. Also the vortexes of this rear diffuser are incredibly impressive. Let's just see if we can squeeze around to take a very quick look here at the interior. Look at that cabin. Marvelous, marvelous place. So this going into production in 2021, another addition to Aston Martin's lineup of hypercars in the form of the AMRB 003, gathering quite a crowd here at the Geneva Motor Show. It wouldn't be Geneva without Pagani. On the 20th anniversary of the launch of the Zonda here at Geneva in 1999, they've returned with a fully restored and refurbished Zonda C12. It's also been the home to the launch of many different variations of the car in the years since, and also the Pagani Huayra, but it's lovely to see where it all began with the Pagani Zonda. Take a look at this, the Zenvo TSRS. Now this car was first launched here at Geneva last year, and the particularly trick thing is the operation of this rear wing. You can see the hydraulics because it can pivot from side to side to help with aerodynamics. Now it was launched here in a different colour, but we're seeing it in a stunning blue with the contrasting white accents around it. But the car is pure mean and menacing. It's a Danish hypercar, not all that many of them, particularly aggressive around the front, as you can see, with the large opening for the grille and the lights either side of it with the 6 individual LEDs as well. But the TSRS in this colour scheme is looking good. Another car that's been getting a lot of attention at this year's show is the world debut of the Pininfarina Battista. It's a fully electric hypercar with 1,900 horsepower that's capable of a top speed of 350 kilometers per hour with a range of 450 kilometers itself as well, which is pretty impressive and is one of the first guilt-free hypercars, we could say, that's really going to bring us forwards towards the next generation, doing it in a very stylish way that you would hope for from the famous Italian designers at Pininfarina, the projects they've worked on in the past. And as it spins around to reveal the front to us, the lines of the car are smooth, they're progressive. You can see the general styling is hypercar without being too crazy or wild, which is often what happens with cars moving towards electrification. So I think they've done a very good job of that, particularly this light bar running across between the headlights around the nose of it. So I'm looking forward to seeing more with this, the Pininfarina Battista, the €2 million car launched here at Geneva. A car that is very close to my heart is the Mercedes-AMG GTR Roadster. It's a limited edition. They're only going to be making a total run of 750 units of the convertible version of the Beast of the Green Hell, but it retains that fixed rear wing, quite a rarity in a convertible car with a front-mounted engine, a front mid-mounted engine I should say, the 585 horsepower bi-turbo V8, the 4-litre that was found in the GTR. In fact, the car hasn't really had to make any sacrifices. It's everything I've loved about my GTR, now in a Roadster. How cool is that? Ginetta have launched a supercar. This is the Akula, which in Russian means shark, and you can very much see that from the gills and the fins that make the aero all around it. They've developed their own engine in-house. It's not front mid, it is a mid-mid engine sitting behind the front axle, making 600 horsepower. As you look around this though, you can see it is all about aggressiveness and aerodynamics. A huge rear wing up here, a massive diffuser, using Ginetta's learnings from motorsport and the different competitions they take part in. And if we come and take a quick look at the interior of it as well, check out the seating position in this car. Bum literally below heels, right down in the base of the car, built inside that carbon fiber tub around it. Very, very purposeful. Look at the steering wheel, look at the dashboard display. This is a road legal, but very much track focused and orientated monster. And come and check out the front. Look at this, look at the design here. You've got this central nose cone, but either side of it, it is completely opened up for airflow to go around the car. Clearly, very much the form is following the function for the maximum downforce and performance on the track. Bugatti also present the Chiron Sport 110 Bugatti, 110 years of Bugatti, 20 cars to be made based on the Bugatti Chiron Sport, including the sky view roof, but this very distinct finish to the car. The optics where they match the exposed carbon with the satin paintwork in steel blue, matte steel blue throughout, along with some symbols, some French flags, for example, on the underside of the rear wing, as you can see there, the tricolor, the French racing blue brake calipers, and some very unique touches to the interior with the embroideries and the emblems and medallions, as you see in the central console, all around the car to really finish it off. And again, sold out before even being shown. The 20 units of the Chiron Sport, 110 years of Bugatti. It wouldn't be a show without a new model from Ferrari, and this year is no exception with the launch of the new F8 Tributo. It replaces the 488 GTB, following a year after we saw the introduction of the more track-focused Pista. This car borrows some of the technology and the engine from that car, and the name itself, F8, stands for Ferrari 8 cylinders Tributo, because it is a tribute to that engine itself, the 3.9-litre twin-turbocharged V8, winner of many Engine of the Year awards, and in this car, making 720 horsepower and 770 newton meters of torque. That means you'll get 0 to 200 kilometers an hour in just 7.8 seconds. It also borrows some of the aerodynamics seen on the Pista, for example an S-duct at the front, also the airflow you can see that comes through the underneath of that rear wing, some design cues shared from the likes of the 812 Superfast, for example the quad tail lights, the rear window, the Lexan window is styled like the F40, Tribute again of course, and the tailpipe exhaust right there as well. So lots of aero, 10% more aerodynamic downforce than the 488 GTB had, the successor to that car in Ferrari's V8 lineup. On the McLaren stand, they're presenting the Speedtail, the new member of the Ultimate Series family, the fastest McLaren ever, with a top speed of 250 miles per hour, and it can seat the driver along with 2 passengers, making it the fastest car in the world with more than 2 seats. It has all sorts of trick technology, for example, cameras that fold out of the doors. It has a wing at the rear that's literally flexible carbon fiber. It's about being slippery through the air for the maximum efficiency aerodynamically to reach that top speed. And there are only 106 units, all well and truly sold out years before it was ever shown. A launch from Bentley is the number 9 edition of the Continental GT, because this year is their centenary. It celebrates 100 years of Bentley with a tribute back to one of the Bentley boys' cars, the 4.5-litre blower from the 1930s in British racing green, and doesn't it look oh so good? Combined with the touches that come from Mulliner, the interior has been redone, the emblems on the exterior, the number 9 that's painted there on the badge as well. A very smart car. Also at Pagani is the Huayra. The Huayra Roadster, shown here in the visible exposed satin blue carbon fibre, the full transformer that opens up, as you can see in front of us, with those flaps, those active flaps at the very front, but the open top experience in their latest car. Paganis, of course, often referred to as works of art as much as they are cars. Beautifully designed, incredible interiors as well, and as you can see it open right now, equally impressive too, with the 6-litre bi-turbo V12 that comes from AMG, positioned there at the back, the driving experience. A beautiful looking thing, and a pretty crazy thing when fully opened up. Another electric hypercar here in the form of the Rimac C2 that was launched last year, packing again some incredibly impressive numbers: 1,914 horsepower, 2,300 Newton meters of torque, and thanks to that, this car can do the 0 to 100 km/h sprint to 62 miles per hour in just 1.85 seconds. Rimac from Croatia have done some incredibly interesting things. They also work with some very big partners too, including providing some of the components for the Aston Martin Valkyrie, but this, their second car that they've built completely themselves, following the concept one, is the C2 that we saw launched in detail last year, but again, presented here in a new look with the pearl white paintwork and the almost turquoisey blue exposed carbon fibre accents as well to finish it off. But a very, very quick electric car leading us towards the future. This is the Valkyrie, except this is the first running version of it, the verification prototype of the car, featuring the 6.5-litre V12. They've now confirmed the numbers: 1160 horsepower, 900 Newton meters of torque. This is literally the ultimate in race car for the road, now approaching towards production. Look at that cabin, look at the way the doors open up, those tiny entries that you have, standing on the seats to actually have to get yourself and maneuver into the car. You are basically looking at race car. You've got cameras on the exterior projected onto the screens. This is the car which is now, you could effectively say, kind of given birth to the AM RB003, except it is nearing production. This is the next generation of hypercar. This thing rewrites the rulebook. The game is changed with the arrival of the Aston Martin Valkyrie, and the colour scheme of this car, in that dark satin green with the accents that you see through the interior around the rear engine bay canopy. Look at the doors open like that with the suspension components, the aerodynamics developed by Adrian Newey from Red Bull's Formula One team. Just look through this, a teardrop cabin, but basically not a whole lot else, yet somehow still going to be road legalized. If you want to depart from the road though, you get to this, the AMR Pro version, the second of the 3 projects that Aston Martin and Red Bull have completed. This is the track-only car, part of Aston Martin's driving program to go out to racetracks and get to push it along with the Vulcan, the AMR Pro. Wow. It's no surprise that Lamborghini have chopped the roof off the Huracan Evo, the recently launched refresh to the Huracan model line, now available in Spider form, but still with all of those updates and upgrades that were inspired from the Performante and made it quite so enjoyable to drive as well. So the Huracan Spider again launched here. Like the Huracan, the Aventador SVJ has also lost the roof and become a roadster. Only 800 units in total to be made of the SVJ Roadster. The sheer brutality, still with ALA, Aerodynamica Lamborghini Attiva, the active aerodynamics, and presented here in a very special design from Ad Personam, Lamborghini's personalization and bespoke colours and trim department in Bronzo Zenas as well. It looks pretty remarkable. This is almost definition of a supercar. It's almost worth a full visit just to the Mansouri stand, but this is their take on the Bugatti Chiron. It's named the Centuria, and as you can see, they have just about modified everything. The entire car is painted in a very glittery very dark blue. It's quite a nice colour actually, contrasted with the forged carbon you can see on the bonnet, the aggression to the lower sections, the splitter, the new wheels. It also has a roof scoop up on the top I've spotted as well, and they've made their own dual tone paintwork with a divide in the colour there towards the rear as well. But basically it was inevitable that Mansory would create a Chiron, and here they have done it, although it has to be said it's not necessarily any more extreme than Bugatti's own Devo. The Brabham BT62 is here on the Motor World stand. It's a hypercar from Australia under the company being led by David Brabham with his own motorsport successes, including winning at Le Mans. For the time being it's track only, but it might in the future become road legal as well. This is the GFG style Kangaroo, the world's first hyper SUV. It's an electric car, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, thanks to the four-wheel drive, is just 3.8 seconds. Take a quick look at that interior as well. The digital displays that you have, the cameras on the upper screen, the digital dashboard, the large central screen, and it also has a suspension system that can raise and lower by 24 centimeters, as well as a splitter that can extend out of the front to give it some hypercar characteristics. And also, just look at the doors as well. The side panel closes down before you have the roof section closing on top of that. I think just around on this side, yes, it's plugged in as well. A full electric car, so that's pretty nice as well. A third model from Bugatti on their very impressive display at Geneva is the Devo that was launched last summer at Pebble Beach in California in August. The 40 units of this at 5 million euros each net of taxes, again all sold out before even being revealed to the public. You can see it has quite radically different bodywork compared to the Chiron on which it's based. It shares the 8-litre quad-turbo W16 that makes 1,500 horsepower, but as you look around, for example, you have the shark fin that runs through to the rear, you have this raised up active rear wing, some significantly more aggressive design down towards the diffuser for the aerodynamics, and also on the interior to rework and focus it on the driver, and up towards the front, the louvres and the headlights as well. But again, the familiar Bugatti horseshoe down at the front. This thing is pretty crazy. We have to take a moment to talk about this, the Koenigsegg Regera. This is a car that was launched here a couple of years ago, but this one has something particularly unique about it. You see this finish? It is basically raw, unlacquered carbon fiber. Now the Regera was a particular marvel of technology, the Koenigsegg direct drive system that basically means you have no gears, no traditional gearbox in this car, a hybrid with an awful lot of power and a very, very high top speed. But this finish, I'm absolutely mesmerized by it. I've not seen anything like it. It looks raw and incomplete, we could say, but somehow it really stands out. I can't believe that hasn't been done before. So a raw, incomplete, carbon fiber Koenigsegg Regera. The team from Eden Green have launched the Zanturi. It's based on the Rolls-Royce Phantom Coupe, but you can see from the styling of these arches, more akin to the design that's familiar from 1930s Bugattis and the like. We're looking at the Italdesign Da Vinci. So Italdesign relaunched a couple of years ago under the Volkswagen Group, which means they have access to the group's lineup of different chassis and setups and platforms. We first saw the Zero Uno, but they've gone for a much more luxurious take here. You've got the large gull-wing doors that open up to reveal the interior on the completely rebodied and in-house designed car. And a particular feature I rather like coming round towards the rear are the way those tail lights flash and pulsate into life. That's the indication the car is starting up. And quite a cool little touch that it has going on as well. It's sleek, it's smooth, it looks good. The gull-wing doors, quite a nice touch as well. So we'll hopefully see more of these as well, not too long. The Lagonda all-terrain concept is Aston Martin's vision of an all-electric luxury SUV. You can have a quick glimpse at the interior there. The Lagonda brand very much becoming the premium offerings in the future as technology moves in this direction. And the most high-performance vehicle here, the Suzuki Jimny, has to be said though, the new one is pretty cool. A familiar car but with a difference. This is a Tesla Model S by Niels van Rooij design to turn it into a shooting brake. Look at the work that's been done at the rear to transform the look of that and the practicality inside as well. I tried to catch up with these guys once before, but unfortunately just couldn't make it. But very, very nice to see that on display here at Geneva, to see what they've done to build a car that Tesla haven't. Check out the Urus Senat. This is Russia's response to the Rolls-Royce. Luxury, presence, prominence, that is in abundance when it comes to this. What a show. There has been so much to take in. Hypercars galore as we've had the introductions of the Bugatti La Voiture Noire, the Koenigsegg Jesko, the AMRB 003, but then further hypercars, the Mansory Chiron, the McLaren Speedtail, the Aston Martin Valkyrie and the Valkyrie AMR R Pro. We also have the Devo and the Chiron 110 years behind me, the raw carbon Koenigsegg Regera, the Pagani Huayra Roadster and the 20th anniversary Zonda. There has been a lot to take in at the 2019 Geneva Motor Show. I hope you've enjoyed this highlights run through though, seeing some of the latest and greatest as they've been launched. And thank you very much as always for watching. I appreciate your support, but that's it for now. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.